Alright guys, welcome. Continuing on and mind the wind blowing sound. Probably be suing. A wave of relief ran through my body at the thought of never having to deal with that group again. At the same time, a ping of realization hit the back of my mind. The boys were only going to stay until after Malix was defeated. That was our deal. As we approached home, I could feel something weighed down on my I could feel something heavy weighed down my heart. It was late, but the boys led me inside and turned on the lights in the lobby.
Finally, we can relax.
So y'all lied to her. Y'all said y'all was training to defeat. Okay, there's something else going on.
It will be good to have some rest without devils breathing down our necks.
I'm just tired. Can I hit the hay early?
I think some sleep would be good for all of us.
I looked to Damien, knowing he could read my mind, and frowned. I didn't want him to know about my thoughts on the situation. Yeah, bed sounds good. I just wanted to end tonight. Too much had been happening, and I feel dizzy just trying to figure out. However, Damien spoke up, stopping all of us from moving. I'm fucking sure.
Should we be gone in the morning?
The air became still with tension. The realization of the situation hit the boys like a wave, forcing them to turn to me in courtesy. They had remembered the deal and were now awaiting to me to decide their fate. I gulped to face with the reality of the situation. The boys were leaving it up to me. They looked like they were willing to accept whatever I had demanded. It was only fair, though, after all that had happened. I looked to Damien, feeling my heart flutter in my chest. I didn't want him to leave, but what he asked to say, I hoped that he would say no and ask me to stay longer. As he knew what I wanted, Damien moved and stepped to me, staring into my eyes with almost pleading eyes. His eyes made me want to whimper in guilt, but then he spoke. I'm breaking hearts today.
I know we've only been here for a short while, but you've done so much for us just by giving us a place to stay. However, if I may be honest, I really would like us to stay here longer. Can we?
Nigga, we're gonna have kids. My heart skipped while a large red blush ran across my cheeks. The boy stared at Damien wide-eyed, but didn't dare to speak out. Damien stepped back to give me some space, returning to where he was. I moved my gaze across each boy, trying to make a decision. If they left in the morning, I would never see them again, and my life would return normal. If I did decide to let them go, that would have been for the best. No more goodbyes, no delays. But fuck it, I wanted them to stay. I wanted him to stay. I merely stood staring at the man that I've come waiting for. Before speaking at last, I would love you to stay. The boys cheered tiredly, but nonetheless enthusiastically. I giggled at the sight. It was cute to see everybody so excited, despite the tiredness that ran equally through our bodies. Today was a rough day. My home is your home, as long as you still help with the chores. The boys nodded in unison, agreeing to the terms I had set for them. Despite the good situation, I felt myself slowly sleeping unconscious. However, James quickly clapped his hands together, getting everyone's attention and waking me up, making sure I didn't pass on the floor.
All right, everyone. We're all very tired, so let's head to bed, shall we?
Oh! Yeah, sleep is actually a thing. Right.
We've had a very long day, but it will be good to just relax tonight and tomorrow.
Sleep sounds really good right now.
Yeah, man.
I watched a small smile grow on Damien's lip. He shared my excitement, knowing that we'd be together longer. Who knew how long we would stay together? All I cared about was that I would be with him. The others quickly left to finally rest, leaving me and Damien alone at last. My heart fluttered a bit as Damien walked close to me. Alright, everyone, mind the fan. It's starting to get hot in Chicago. I had to get a nice break real quick. I watched his smile brighten a bit before he cleared his throat and looked up at me with a serious face. I didn't know if it was the tiredness or my growing attachment to him, but I felt myself sway a bit on my feet. However, Damien's face made it clear that he wanted to say something else, make me forget that my bed was also calling for me.
Listen, about what happened at the warehouse.
No, it's fine. You did what you had to. I understand. I had accepted everything that happened and knew that Damien had to do what he had to do. He was real, and he was someone I didn't want to be without, even if it means nodding against my courtesy. Besides, I was too tired to explore that memory further. Damien nodded before holding out a hand to me.
Come on, let's get you to bed.
Let's take you to bed. I nodded before Damien gently lifted me up into his arms like a bride and carried me to my room. I didn't want to leave his arms, leaning my head against Damien's chest, but eventually I was slowly lowered to my bed, and I covers with my bed covers. I was still in my school clothes, but I was too tired to strip or care. I looked to Damien, fighting a yawn from escaping me as he gently ran a hand over my hair.
Good night. I'll make breakfast for you in the morning.
He gonna feed a motherfucker. He know how to choose woman. I nodded with a tired smile before watching him slowly stand and leave my room, closing the door. A wave of happiness washed over me as I laid in bed. I made a good choice. Sure, it would be hard, but I could tell that I would be able to manage it. Help around the house and being with a man who I was slowly starting to fall for would be worth it. I slowly felt my exhaustion take over. I let sleep consume me as I drifted into the darkness in my mind. Everything was peaceful. I was happy. Holy shit, that was it? Or this is the beginning?
You are an interesting creature.
I opened my eyes to see a woman staring down at me with a very sly smirk on her face. I opened my mouth to scream in fright, but a hand quickly covered my mouth.
No screaming now. Too early, silly girl.
I could only stare up at the woman above me. I still felt weak, not having the strength to move and fight her off. What was going on, and why was she here?
Why do the boys like you? You're unique, yes, but that can't be all that you have going for you.
Rage began to consume my core again. This woman, whoever she was making me mad. She must have known as she let another smoke growing on her face.
Ooh, you're feisty. That could be why.
Before I could bite her hand in anger, she removed her hand from my lips, standing up and staring down at me from her place next to my bed. I quickly sat up and glared daggers at the intruder. She was still very beautiful, but I felt more anger than amazement. Who the hell are you, and why are you in my room? The woman began to laugh, making the rage inside me increase. I wanted to punch her, but I waited for her answer.
How silly of me. I forgot that we demons are not well known of in your world. You can call me Diana, little human.
Diana? Demon? You're a demon.
I am, but I'm much more than just an average demon.
What do you mean?
Silly girl. I'm a succubus.
I stared at Diana in shock. A succubus? First incubi, now a succubus? Great, I had now met both genders of sex demons. Diana crossed her arms under her bosom and looked at my body.
Well, you are pretty. A goody little two-shoes, aren't you?
I moved out and stood from the bed, still glaring at Diana. Why are you here?
Oh, I just wanted to see who my competition was.
Competition?
For the boys, of course. They don't belong here, and yet here they remain. I want to know why, and remedy this little issue.
The girl was seriously pissing me off. Issue? What issue? They wanted to stay here so they can't.
Silly, uneducated human. You don't understand the important roles these boys play in the abyssal planes. You keeping them here is practically imprisonment.
You have 10 seconds to leave.
Is that a threat? How cute. What are you going to do? Kill me?
And if I do?
You barely have the strength to stand, little human. I can rip the rest of your energy out and knock you into a coma. You'll never be able to wake up again.
Touch me and I'll.
Enjoy every minute of it.
I felt my body freeze and heat up almost to a painful haze. My mind began to feel fuzzy as Diana stepped to me and caressed my cheek.
Now, you're going to listen to everything I say without any questions. Got it?
I nodded.
Good. I plan to bring the boys back to the abyssal planes. Why? So that I can take my place as queen of their realm. They have no reason to be here in this silly little world, so I'm going to make sure they return home. Okay, Pumpkin?
I nodded but growled. My rage couldn't be concealed despite the hold I was under. You evil bitch.
Call me evil all you want, dearie. I'm not evil. You're just in my way.
I felt Diana lean in my ear and whispered, making me unconsciously shiver in both pleasure and annoyance.
Now, be a good little human and go to bed. I'll make sure they're gone before you get home tomorrow from school, so make sure to say goodbye in the morning.
I felt my body move on its own to lay in bed and cover myself with my bed sheets. I glared at Diana the entire way down. Diana laughed at my futility. I'll get you.
Oh, please do.
All of a sudden, her voice deepened and became cold and demonic, sending a violent scare shiver down my spine. Her eyes red, practically illuminated in the darkness of my room as she glared at me.
Give me a reason to make your life a living hell.
I gritted my teeth, trying to fight back against the hold on me. She couldn't have been that tough. She needed energy to survive, right? I was sure she couldn't have enough to hold me down forever. Diana then laughed and returned to normal.
Oh, and make sure you don't tell the boys I was here. I want my visit to be a surprise.
I felt the hold on me disappear, allowing me to sit up and practically growl at Diana in rage. What's stopping me?
And you must not care about your friends and family as much as you care for the boys.
I stopped and stared. What did she mean by that? Was that a threat to my family? Diana smirked at me, knowing the confusion behind my eyes.
Let's just say that if you tell the boys about me, I'll make sure that no one will care for you. and you'll be all alone in this little house until the day you die.
I could feel fear creeping into me. Alone? How could she do that? The word demon reverberated in my head, reminding me that I was facing off against something supernatural. A human with a shield virus versus a demon. Demon was one thing. A human on her own versus a demon with another.
Have a good night.
And with that, Diana sank into the floor through a magic purple pentagram, which disappeared as her head vanished into the floor. I couldn't believe it. I had one problem, now I had another. Instead of a crazy psycho devil who wanted to kill me and the boys, I have a succubus wanting to ruin my life and take the boys away. Can life get any worse? No, I wasn't going to let her win. She's not as powerful as she looks. I know it. I had to mentally confirm it. She wasn't going to win. The boys wanted to stay with me. I let her outside before closing my eyes, affirming my plan of action. No matter what she was going to do, I was going to beat her. Eventually the morning arrived, and the sun screamed at me to get up. Surprisingly, I woke up before our alarm clocked once again, which was nice. I stretched out and quickly got dressed, getting ready for school. She expects me to say goodbye to the boys. I will say good morning, and will see them when I come back. No way I was going to say goodbye. I scooped up my bag, heading downstairs to the dining room, seeing the boys already eating a delicious selection of food. The smell made my stomach growl wildly as the sight of food drew me to walk further into the room.
Good morning, miss. Did you sleep well?
Before I could lie, hiding the incident in the back of my mind, Damien furrowed his eyebrows and stopped eating.
She's here.
The boys looked to Damien in confusion while I cursed his ability silently in my mouth.
Damien, what's up with you? Of course she's here. She kinda owns the house.
Damien looked at me, wanting to me explain for him. However, the threats that Diana gave me last night warned me to keep my mouth shut. Diana pressed his lips together in a fine line. Damien, oh my God, Damien pressed his lip. The other boys looked at me with a raised eyebrow. A girl named Diana came by last night.
Diana? Is she important?
Did she try to hurt you?
She's a succubus. The single word made the boys stop and stare at me. I looked to each boy, unsure what was going through their minds. Should I have avoided it?
So, she's come to try and bring us back.
She must really be desperate.
Well, what should we do now?
Nothing. She'll give up eventually.
Will she?
The boys continued to look at me as if I knew the answer to that question. Damn it, Damien. She said if I told you she'd make my life a living hell. She can't possibly do that. She's not a devil.
No, she isn't. However, she is a very powerful demon.
She's a master of mind manipulation and has been trained in illusion. Unlike other demons who use strength to get power, she uses her charisma.
Yup, shit.
No.
She has the power to make armies bow to her and obey her every whim. That's why she's so obsessed with us.
What do you mean?
Well, she sorta has family ties to us. She was promised to marry one of us in exchange for more power.
She's just some whacked up hussy who doesn't know how to close her legs. She's not a real threat.
Oh, really? I feel insulted.
The boys and I looked around the room, wondering where the voice came from. I felt a cold sweat down the back of my neck in fear, remembering what kind of power she had. At last, we saw Diana by the entrance of the kitchen, just a juggly single red apple in her hand. I should lean against the archway. The boys quickly surrounded me, glaring at the intruder.
So, you took up a human name as well.
Beautiful name, isn't it? Well, for a human name, anyway.
What the hell do you want?
To bring you back, of course. However, you weren't supposed to know that I was coming. I completely forgot about that little mind-reading ability. My mistake.
Diana pushed out from the archway and walked towards us, making the boys step closer to me and protect the circle. Diana laughed.
My. What has the world come to? A group of demons protecting a human girl? I'll tell you right now, she's not that pretty. And from what I can tell, she's still a virgin.
Damn, Diana, this burn's only temporary. My face grew red in complete anger and embarrassment. How dare she? I stepped up, gently pushing the boys away to be face to face with Diana. And I was furious, and she was about to feel my wrath. You are in my house. You are intruder. You have no power here.
Oh, really? Do I have to remind you of the power I have, dear?
With a snap of her finger, my mind suddenly locked up, and I felt blank. I could see the world around me, but I lost control of my body. The boys quickly reformed around me, with James gripping onto Diana's wrist in anger.
You will leave this instant.
Or what? You'll kill me? I completely dare you to.
Let me do it. I could use the workout.
Don't.
The boys looked to Damien while Diana smirked at my blank state. I wanted to fight this hold, but her power held me down.
And why not?
She wants us to kill her. If she dies, then civil war starts in the demon world.
Very good, sweetie.
What happens in the demon world doesn't concern us anymore. We live here now.
The demons will come to the human world and hunt us down before attacking each other.
The demons will come to the human world? All because of her?
You sneaky bitch.
With another snap of Diana's fingers, I was released from her hold, almost buckling to my knees.
Well, will you all change your minds? I assure you, it's for the greater good.
I expected the boys to say no. What I heard was a complete silence. None of the boys replied to Diana, which made me both nervous and fearful as to why. Diana leaned her head back a bit, surprised for a different reason.
No. Well, I see.
Was silence truly them saying no to her? I looked around at the boys and saw the disobedience in their eyes, giving me my answer. I felt my heart feather, especially when my eyes landed on Damien. He kept close to me, glaring daggers into Diana. I could feel that he was completely adamant in his choice to stay. I didn't know what, but I was incredibly happy to know what he wanted to say. Diana sighed and pressed her fingers into her temples, rubbing it gently.
Either all of you are playing a very convincing hard-to-get game, or you all must be out of your minds.
Diana then looked at me, locking her gaze with mine as if to read me. I could tell she wanted me to do something, but the boys would stop her, so the stare was our only available option. After a small moment of silence, Diana licked her lips before breaking the gaze battle and smiling to the boys around me.
Very well. I guess I'll take my leave now.
What? Her leave? Was she serious? The boys around me straightened up and grew confused looks on their face as Diana stepped back away from us with a small bow, flattening her cleavage. Without another word, a deep purple pentagram appeared under her feet, and Diana's body slowly sank into the floor. As her head vanished into the floor, the pentagram vanished. At once the boy relaxed and slowly began to return to our spots at the table, each in thought.
She'll be back, but she won't kill us. She needs us alive.
Oh, that'd be fucked up if she signed a paper and she don't need you.
Whatever. We'll just keep saying no. She can't force us to come back.
She can't do anything but annoy us. Eventually she'll give up.
That's the hope, anyway.
Hopefully. Damien walked over to me, and stood before me, looking at me with concern.
We'll protect you. Don't worry.
I nodded, feeling that he was telling the truth, or at least a hopeful and comforting thought. Damien gently took my hand in his and brought it up to my knuckles, however, making me blush and forgot what I was thinking about. The sound of collective chuckles and playful snickers whispered through the air, making me blush even more. But as Damien sighed and cleared his throat, laughter stopped. I looked up to see he was glaring at his brothers with his lips on my hand. He and I pulled away from each other, just as the sound of Naomi's car appeared. I quickly ate my food, waved to the boys, and left, confident that nothing was going to happen. Never, ever say that nothing will happen before the day is over. I avoided talking about the ride back home yesterday, saying that the ride was a one-time thing. I'll be riding with you guys from now on, to and from school. The girls seemed very happy. We entered the room, quickly gathered our things from our lockers, and headed to the class. There was no event, to our surprise. History wasn't exactly fun, but our teacher was great. At least he would have been great if he was in class that day. Naomi and Suzu took their seats around me. Suzu in front of me, Naomi beside me, before the class bell rang, and the class was greeted by the dean.
Students, you'll be having a substitute for class today. Everyone meet
Miss Diana.
My heart stopped. At the door was the dean, was Diana, looking up at the students and smirking as her eyes landed on mine. She strutted to the teacher's desk, ignoring our welcoming, the whispers from the other students before sitting on the wood, and crossed her legs.
Thank you, Dean. You can go now.
With a wave of Diana's hand, the dean left the classroom, closed the door, and left the area. Diana smiled at us, making my stomach turn. What was she going to do?
So, history. History, history, history. Such a silly thing, isn't it? I mean, what do we care about the past? We're in the present.
The rest of the class, including Naomi and Suzu, hesitated, nodding in agreement, unsure about this new teacher, but willing to listen more of what she had to say.
The present is so...
Oh, shit.
The present is so full of wonderful things. While the labors of the past are the reason we have many things, it is our chance and privilege to utilize what has been given to us.
Her charm was almost infectious. The class was practically staring to eat out of her hand. I looked around to see the classmates grinning and agreeing with Diana. I pressed my lips together as I listened further. I had no choice.
What's even funnier about human beings is that some of the bits of history we hear as either made up or completely biased to one side. It's like a story you read as a child. You hear of the princess and the prince, and they live happily ever after. But what about the family she left behind? What of her friends?
The students listened and agreed intentionally to her words. I could tell, however, these words were all targeted at me.
The original story of the Little Mermaid, a perfect example of biased opinion. Here we have a girl who thinks she can be with this prince, but this prince has to marry a princess. What would happen?
Oh, shit.
What would happen if the mermaid had her way? What makes the mermaid so important that the princess has to suffer the consequences?
The rest of the class turned their heads to me. Naomi and Suzu looked at me with equally surprised looks. I kept my eyes staring at Diana. If I was the mermaid, I wasn't going to let the princess take my prince away. Diana stared at me before smiling and turning her body to fully face me.
Oh? And why does it not matter?
The story isn't about the princess. The story is about the mermaid and the prince.
But that is exactly my point. While the story talks about the mermaid and the prince's romance, we don't see the problems of the kingdom the prince rules. While we are all fixated with this love story, we ignore the fact the kingdom would fall apart without the marriage between the prince and princess.
She kept her eyes to me as she spoke. I knew she wanted to make her words stick in my mind, but I didn't listen. It was one thing to be a fictional story. It was another to try and ruin someone's life for selfishness. Diana chuckled and looked back to the class.
Well, luckily in the real story of the Little Mermaid, the mermaid knows that what she was doing was wrong, and she threw herself into the ocean, turning into
Some of the students that surrounded me mumbled in surprise, obviously not knowing the real story. However, Diana was wrong once again. Once again, the class looked up at me, and Diana faced me with another smile.
Not true. How so?
See, the trade-off for becoming humans was marrying the prince or turning into the
Not
sea.
true.
Or, was marrying the prince or turning into sea foam. However, she was also given the choice to kill the prince and turn back into a mermaid. The mermaid didn't because she loved him and sacrificed herself for that love. That story is worth telling. Not some princesses getting her way, but of a tragedy that had befallen on a girl who only wanted to love. The class applauded me with Suzu giving me her usual pinch on the shoulder, and Naomi smiling at my logic. Diana, however, finally grew an almost angry face at me.
Interesting. So what you are saying is that the princess should be given no mind.
The story is not about the princess. The story is about the Little Mermaid, and the Little Mermaid should have gotten her prince.
Even at the risk of a kingdom falling apart?
Even if the entire world fell apart around them, duty does not overrule love, and the princess needs to realize this. The applause that followed that intensified whoops and hollers. I felt a wave of confidence roll through my body. Diana wasn't going to win. I wasn't going to let her. Diana then stopped talking and looked to the clock at the wall, reading it quickly. The class had already barely begun. Why was she still looking at the time? Diana then leaned against the board and smiled at us. I became worried.
You know what? School isn't important. Everyone, go ahead and head home. Take the week off.
The students suddenly began to chat happily. Chatted happily or in confusion of the situation. Many thought it was a dream come true. Others knew better. Before anyone could protest, however, Diana pressed a finger to her lips and counted down with her fingers in air. 3, 2, 1. The speakers of the classrooms gently awoke, giving us an announcement we would never believe.
Attention students. Due to an emergency faculty meeting, we will be closing school for the remainder of the day and this entire week. Please leave the school quickly and quietly and have a good rest of the week.
She used her powers on them. Damn it! I felt the need to stop her, but how could I stop a demon in the middle of a public area? Diana smiled before gesturing to the door.
Have a nice week off. School will resume next week.
Many of the students filed out, chatting to each other about new impudent plans. Suzu was beyond happy, but Naomi was hesitant. Before we could pack up and leave, however, Diana stepped on us.
Excuse me, little miss. I'd like you to stay a little while. There's something we need to discuss.
As Diana looked to Suzu and Naomi, she snapped her fingers, making my friends tense up.
You two can head home. Don't worry about your friend until next week, okay? If you contact her, she won't reply, so don't bother. If she contacts you, ignore her, because she's just fine.
As if on command, Suzu and Naomi left the room. I tried to march after him, but Diana stepped in my path, warning me with her eyes that if I followed, there would be hell to pay. I had lost my 2 friends, at least for the week. Diana and I were alone, just like she wanted. I slammed my hands on the desk in front of me and glared at Diana. What are you doing, and what are you thinking?
What? Do I not make a good teacher? I figured you should have a little lesson, so I took matters into my own hands.
Whatever you're trying to do won't work.
You really think so, dear? And what makes you so sure about that?
What was making me so sure? Why was I confident? Were the boys worth this? My thoughts began to fill with doubt. All of the uncertainties about this whole ordeal began to cloud my mind. If the boys were ever found out, there would be hell to pay. Was it worth it? What about Diana? What would she do to me? Would she make my parents forget about me completely? Would she ruin my friend's life out of spite? In my gut, I felt a stone of confidence trying to fight back, but the heaviness of my thoughts began to dissolve that stone little by little. What was going on with me? I looked up to Diana again to see her gaze boring into my eyes. She was using her powers on me. This time, I was away from home, so I couldn't escape. Or could I? Did I want to? The way she stared at me made me feel warm and fuzzy inside my chest, like I felt like melting. Diana lifted a hand under my chin. I read her thumb over my lips, licking her own. I could feel little shots of energy zipping under my skin into my chin where she held me.
Now, let's have a little taste of that sweet, virginal sexual energy.
I watched as she leaned in, ready to kiss me and take my energy. Half of my body felt elation at this time. The other half completely rejected it and didn't want her to even touch me. Damien. Suddenly, Diana stopped in her tracks.
Damien? Who is...
It then dawned on her.
Ah, one of the boys. Why don't you tell me which boy is Damien?
I felt myself nodding in compliance. The youngest. Diana giggled and replied before letting go of my face and stepping back.
Really? The bastard's son with you?
Yup, in the next video.